I'm curious in all your research, what has been, I guess, the most surprising thing in your field that you've learned in all your research?
Ooh, a lot. I mean, just the whole muscle organ correlation is just so phenomenal. It opens up the world really to figuring out. I mean, every day I get people coming in. I've had chronic neck pain ever since my auto accident, and they've had chiropractic, they've been adjusted, but nobody addressed, for example, the emotional aspect. Let's talk about Johnny, this kid that I treated that he'd been hit by a car. And,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. And so we had to deal with all the physical manifestations, his back pain, his neck pain, and that sort of stuff. He was in grade school. And so his mom says, hey, Johnny's doing great now. Physically, we got his neck doing well and his back and so on. But his grades have really tanked ever since this happened. And I said, well, what do we know about him? And she said, well, he's been diagnosed colorblind. And I said, well, what does that mean? She said, and yeah, he's red.
And he wasn't colorblind before this point? Like it was like a new thing?
Right. He was not colorblind before the accident. Right. And so I said, well, what? And she said, he's green and blue colorblind. And I said, well, that's not true colorblind. What's up there? And so I said, Johnny, what do you remember about the accident? And he says, well, I was walking on a green light and it was a blue minivan that hit me.
Oh my gosh. There you go.
Right. And so we did some work to reduce the manifestation, the physical manifestation of those colors ultimately in the accident. And boom, his grades went back up to A's and B's, and Johnny lived happily ever after. So even emotions, I mean, every day I get, oh, my neck's been hurting ever since the accident. And then, and they get treated, they get adjusted, they feel good. And then they see another red Honda and boom, their neck goes back out. So we can desensitize even to those physical manifestations of emotions.
Well, what's interesting too is like you think of whenever you like brace for something, right? Like you brace that something's going to happen, like you clinch or you grab something. And it's like, I'm like, how often do we just never let that stress go too, right? Like how often does that just sit there because, we don't want to get hit again, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I guess looking at it, like I can see what you're saying, and it's so important, right? But I guess a lot of practitioners aren't willing to look at that connection. And I guess, why do you think that is?
Having the tools. I mean, that's a lot of why I got into it, because I was told I was crazy because, I didn't have an aneurysm causing my headaches, right? It's my platform really is, it's really very frustrating that people are told that it's because of their genetics or because of, their injury or, these things, when the doctor doesn't have the answer. So, I took it on myself really to have tools to figure those answers out. And, there's an approach called applied kinesiology that puts all the structural, chemical, emotional stuff together, that really kind of gave me the tools to figure all this out. And so that's my frustration, is that hearing these people that have been suffering for years because, Dr. X didn't have the tools or didn't want to take the extra effort to figure out really what the triggers were.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Virzel, I've really enjoyed this conversation. For people listening, if they want to connect with you or if they want to grab the book, how's going to be the best way for people listening to do that?
Right. So social media, VRZAL is my last name. You can find me on social. Book is coming soon. The website, the landing page for that is headacheadvantage.com. On that page, you'll be able to pick up the book. Ultimately, there's also links to pick up supplements or help kind of identify the causes of a headache based on the location. So those are some good tools to give people the opportunity to move forward with this information and apply it to their lives so that they don't have to suffer like I did as a kid.
Very cool. Dr. Scott Virzel, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, sir.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening and watching, a reminder, if you have not liked this video, hit that like button, leave us a comment, smash that subscribe button if you want to command your brand and make a bigger impact out there. Have a great one, everybody.